For America's climate goals, investing in clean energy adds up. But what doesn't add up is an additionality requirement for clean hydrogen. Additionality would put an unnecessary and inequitable burden on domestic clean hydrogen producers and have serious consequences for America. America needs clean hydrogen, but an additionality requirement just doesn't add up. Get the facts at cleanhydrogentoday.org. Paid for by the Fuel Cell and Hydrogen Energy Association.
Hello and welcome to the Corner Flag. It feels like it's Groundhog Day because in charge of Chelsea is Frank Lampard once again. This is episode 210. Welcome everybody to episode 210 of the Corner Flag. Joining me is Mukesh and Prashant Soni. Welcome boys.
Hello.
दोनों एक साथ hello बोले तो overlap हो गया. It's like a lovely overlapping run by the right back. But good to be here. Prashant, how are you feeling, my man? New manager in charge.
Still okay. ऐसा.
Do we call it a new manager in charge? Do we call it an old manager in charge?
See, Todd Boehly के लिए नया manager, हम लोग के लिए पुराना
चावल.
Can
we even call it a manager in charge?
That's true.
At a basic level,
That's
after
true.
seeing all the evidence that Frank Lampard has presented us with,
Yeah.
we still want to continue calling him a football manager at a professional level. I hope everybody is. I am.
Yes.
You are. Prashant
Yes.
is.
Wow,
I don't think you are a manager at home, Muki. With your level of organization, I don't think. We left from our meeting at the same time. We reached home roughly at the same time, and still I was here before you. You were still late for a remote recording of the Corner Flag, as usual.
As usual. Some things now, if the world changes too much, you can't handle it. So
Absolutely.
Some things need to be like this.
I just realized something. Frank Lampard is a new old manager.
Yes.
Roy Hodgson is an old manager.
Wow,
It's a
this
thinker.
podcast levels, Prashant, this podcast levels have really gone down.
I'm just hitting 5 stars in the rating even more now.
And you should do that too, dear listeners. You should do that too. Right, let's begin with the biggest game of the season, or the biggest game of the weekend, at least. It was Arsenal against Liverpool at Anfield. Arsenal taking the lead in the first half, going 2-0 up, but then eventually settling for a point as Liverpool got goals back through Mohamed Salah and Roberto Firmino, just playing the hits all over again. Now, Klopp, Salah and Firmino on the score sheet.
Yeah.
Anfield is buzzing. Okay, lots to talk about here. Now, firstly, do we say that Arsenal bottled a 2-goal lead to drop 2 points? Can we actually even use the term bottled this season for Arsenal? I know we've done that in previous seasons because they've been a bottling team, but this season, considering the way they've played, is bottled the right terminology to use?
I think this, okay, if I have to speak from a very neutral fan's perspective.
No, you should, because we get hate from Arsenal fans because last episode you were like, oh, how can they play like this when Liverpool... Like, you completely shat on Arsenal who were playing really well this season.
Correct.
So please bring the neutral fan perspective into this because that's what the listeners want.
I definitely think Arsenal bottled the 2 points. is what I think is a very neutral thing to say.
Yes.
Right?
And what is then what is the Liverpool fan thing to say?
The Liverpool fan thing is actually, weirdly, that is criticism, but we'll get to that later. But the neutral thing, I think Arsenal bottled 2 points, and I think this is one of those things we've always been talking about, that in this final stretch, Arsenal's lack of experience in tight games of finishing the game off as compared to City, who's done it against Liverpool and United, chasing them, clearly shows, and it is beginning to show, I think, because you could sense that they couldn't absorb the pressure that Liverpool were throwing at them for the last 50 minutes, even forget the second half, the last 50 minutes, right from around the point of view of the conflict between Xhaka and Trent. Arsenal couldn't, and I think they were caught off guard. That doesn't mean the first 40 minutes or so they were bad. I think they were excellent. They looked like they were going to bury the game. They looked like they were going to embarrass Liverpool. It felt like, I was prepared for a 4-0, 4-1. And I thought if Liverpool walks out with a 4-2, it might seem respectable. So I do think Arsenal ended up bottling 2 points, primarily because of lack of experience in this stretch of the league. That's a neutral thing to say.
Right. I I just feel like they. A lot of people say that it was the Xhaka incident that kind of riled Liverpool on. But do you think that is a fair assessment? Do you think that was the one incident that did it?
I think, see, there is no logical reason for why a crowd wakes up. Correct. I think if you narrate the match to someone who hasn't seen the match, it'll sound like, oh, was that it? Because if you see the clipping, it's like, what's there in that? But also, you should realize that up until that point, the crowd was pretty much dead. Right? All Liverpool fans all over the world would have given up. I just feel like something happened in that moment where you just needed a reason to get angry. And
But here's the thing. Like I saw a tweet by an Arsenal fan. I must say, disclaimer, that it was just the sound, like whatever the footage from the game around the time of the Xhaka incident, and I didn't see any change or hear any change in the crowd. Like they seemed as dead as they were.
But I do think every reporter who's written an article, who was present in the stadium, and the players, everybody, I'm not saying Xhaka did something particularly wrong. I don't think Xhaka reacted in any way that 95% of footballers wouldn't have reacted to.
Yeah.
It would have reacted any differently in that situation. I just feel like in that moment, the crowd got something to play. Like, sometimes when you play extra victim, some inner power comes out.
Yeah.
I feel like it's some version of that. Like, you're just hoping that, they're fucking with our boys. Our area boys are getting screwed. So let's go at it. And that was it. And it is also who it is, right? It is Trent. He is like, as much as other clubs and fans might give him banter, he is in Liverpool. He is the Liverpool boy who made it big. So there is a lot of sentimentality associated with Trent. So I think it's a culmination of all of those factors. And because we did see this even last season when Arteta went against Klopp and a similar result followed. I'm not talking about result in terms of winning and losing. I'm talking about result in terms of the crowd getting riled up. Now, whether that's a logical point of view or whether crowd is logical, but crowds have historically never been logical. So I think, fantastic that this worked out in Liverpool's favor. Yes.
I can't believe you're like celebrating a point. Oh wait, you've done that before against West Brom.
West Brom. That is for me being neutral. Now can I be?
Yes. Can I be the Liverpool fan? Yes.
Oh my God! What an amazing second half, guys! Liverpool were amazing. That was so cool. That was so. Oh my God! It was amazing. It really felt like I went through a gamut of emotions. It felt like I was in my own, like, those videos where it's like all hope is lost. And then the earth simmered underneath, dust rose, and then the heroes came, and it felt so cool. It really felt like one epic thing happened, and there was so much it was constantly like back and forth. Who could have won? Salah missed a penalty, and it felt like you gave up at that point, and then Firmino gets it back. Then it looks like Liverpool can score, and then Ramsdale has these like insane things. Then Robertson does a lot of dumb shit, and then he gets elbowed, so suddenly he becomes the victim. Oh my God, it was such an epic game to see. Like, and my whole point, the whole time I was thinking, where the fuck have these players been? Where is not even these players? I think these versions of these players. Where the hell have they been? Like Van Dijk has been shit for quite a while, and suddenly he seemed a little more respectable. Konate was amazing, and Thiago, when he came on, he was sensational. I just feel like Salah was good. Nunez was predictably shit, but I just felt like but there was, even with that shitness, there was a little bit of more adventure. Even though he missed, he was a little less shit while he missed. But it was great. I was like,
you spoke about pretty much all the incidents that and there were a bunch of incidents that we have to get through in this game. Let's start off first with the missed penalty, or actually, let's start off first with the Andy Robertson incident, because he gets elbowed by the linesman.
Yes,
like, clear as day, he gets elbowed by the linesman. Of course, he starts protesting it. And the latest that we've heard is now that the PGMOL is going to investigate the linesman that we're talking about. His name is really confusing to say. So, if you want more details about this, dear listeners, just Google it here. Use
Pratap. No, his name is Pratap.
Pratap. Yes, his name is Pratap. Sorry, my bad. I find it very hard to pronounce Pratap. I pronounce it Pratap. So, I don't know exactly what that is. But yes, so he definitely got elbowed, and now this linesman is not going to be able to officiate any games while the investigation is pending. What is the right amount of discipline according to you?
I say definitely don't put your elbows anywhere near any player's body. I also feel like Robertson was egging the referee on so much. If he had actually stayed calm, that it could have been I felt like Robertson would have been penalized eventually. Like he was egging him on. He was being a bit of a pest, and I guess it's one of those things that you would like it if it was your team. But I can see how it's annoying for another team or even the referees, etc. So I don't know if this is a young referee, if it's a new referee, but he's clearly lost his cool, and suddenly the tide has, the entire sympathy tide has turned towards Robertson. I think former players, even former non-Liverpool players, I saw Darren Bent tweet out against it, are getting involved. I'm sure other players are getting angry, and as it is, referees, like, if there's one group every fan also hates, it's the referees, right? Every week there's shit thrown at the referees. Right? Every week there's a referee decision that some fan is complaining about. And I just felt like this is a horrible thing for the referee united, the referee union, and completely unnecessary. And I thought he should have just kept his cool a little bit, because Robertson would have been justified to penalize Robertson with a yellow card or something.
Yeah, but like that's the thing, right? Like you have yellow and red cards. वो दिखा दो ना. Don't elbow people. Like it's simple. You're a referee. You have the tools at your disposal to sort this shit out. But anyway, I honestly felt it was that incident that spurred Liverpool on, and not the Xhaka incident so much.
No, I felt like not many fans themselves saw, because it was a thing that happened and Robertson had to complain about it, whereas the Trent one was whatever. It was a face full on. I think teammates got involved, etc. So that really riled them on.
Right. The next incident that we should talk about was the Salah penalty miss, because he's not having a great time with penalties. Okay, like he's been up.
So there are two. Yeah,
I feel like he's the king who got his head cut off in the guillotine. Who was that? Who was Mary Antoinette's husband?
King Charles V, the first one of those guys.
I don't know whoever it was, but he was the king who got his head cut off. But I feel like your king is not really very kingly.
Hey, क्या बोलती रही तू? No.
You also agreed. Come on.
What was Louis, maybe Louis. So I'm not Charles, Louis. One of the Louis.
The guy who has an expensive bottle of wine or champagne named after him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really converted blood to wine. I guess his name should have been Jesus.
Yeah.
But let's move on to Mohammed.
Let them have penalty misses.
Let them have penalty misses. Honestly, I know. I think he's missed 4 of the last 11 penalties, and until then, he had missed, I think, 1 of every penalty he'd taken. So I think there is an element of pressure getting to him, and I think it's symbolic of not his penalty taking skills as much as the amount of pressure there is on each penalty now. Right? I think that is like the cracks are reaching even the best player, and he's clearly Liverpool's best player. The number of goals he scored for Liverpool, I think, or maybe his goal contributions are, I think, equal to number 2 plus number 3 in Liverpool. So I think the pressure is getting to him for one. And second, I think he's modified his technique, whereas he's always been a power guy. I think now he's trying to place it a little bit, play mind games, and I think that's not really working for him. I think power, when he sticks to like power and like shot towards the goal without aiming even too high for the corners or anything, he gets them in power and speed. Whereas now I think this aiming and trying to play a mind game with the keeper is going against him. So I don't really blame Salah. Maybe it's wise to get Fabinho or even like someone like Konate, who you don't expect to have many tricks up their sleeve at any given point of time to take penalties. But I think maybe for 2 or 3 take Salah out, and if just fucking people like Nunez score goals, there wouldn't be so much pressure on your best player to convert everything. Honestly, that's whose fault I think it is. No,
it's all Darwin's fault, basically. What you're saying,
it's all Darwin's fault.
Yeah. I saw a great tweet, by the way, that said that Jesus scored. So Jesus scored, Mohammed scored, but Darwin didn't.
Missed.
So basically, evolution has been fucked off. Bad day for the atheists.
Bad. And a random Firmino, which I get, a random Bobby, which is just a random citizen of the world, a Bob. Bob scored.
I think the three of us will know a random Bobby is never a good idea.
Random Bobby is never a good idea.
Yeah. जो जिसको समझा वो समझा. Let's also give a shout out to Aaron Ramsdale, because I think he is the one who kept Arsenal in the game right until the very end, and he's the one who made sure that they at least got a point from this game. Some fantastic saves right until the very end, and some kick-ass shithousery as well. Even when I think when Salah missed the penalty, he celebrated, which I just find absolutely incredible, when a goalkeeper celebrates without having to make a save. मतलब इसमें तू क्या किया? The goalkeeper has done nothing.
I think
mind games.
Exactly. It's mind game.
The real
Is it
games,
though?
the games you play are the mind games. No, it is. I think he definitely was a mind game, because I think to take someone like Salah, who generally has a good penalty record.
No, he doesn't. But
no, Salah has a very good penalty record. Like if you take away last 10 matches, he's missed only 2 penalties.
Yeah.
But if you can get a player of that stature to like do tricks and gimmicks and all of that and gimmicks, I think that is some level of mind games, and I think it's worthy of celebration, although it hurts.
Yeah. Right. Can we also give a shout out to Rob Holding, because the man has seen an extreme transformation from male pattern baldness to hair transplant to now sporting long hair with a hairband. Like, he is giving male pattern baldness the finger. He is saying fuck off male pattern baldness. तू मेरा कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ सकता. तू क्या उखाड़ लेगा बता.
Yeah, and what a transformation of the hairline. Really, that's who won yesterday.
Yeah.
Is Rob Holding.
Yeah, like the real winner. Yeah, the real guy with the 3 points was Rob Holding. But yes, there we go. Let's talk about Spurs versus Brighton. We'll talk about Spurs versus Brighton now. I know in the run order it says that we'll talk about the Everton game, but there is a chance that Aakarsh might join us for the second half, listeners. And if he doesn't, well, just pretend I did not say this while you're listening to the episode. You can rewind back to this point in the episode and erase it from your memory, and then come back to where you were in the second half. But let's talk about the Spurs Brighton, because even this was a game with a lot of action. Finally ended up being 2-1 to Spurs, but Brighton would have hoped that they got more out of this. They deserved a lot more from this game. Like, what did they have to do? I don't know what their XG was. I haven't read about the stats, but their XG would have been something incredible. Firstly, let's talk about the Son goal, because what a fantastic finish.
Goal.
Yeah.
Prash, have you seen a better goal?
No. I think they are up to something.
And also,
But they have these random bursts. Tottenham has these random bursts. They just go down and it's from somewhere they show up.
it was also his 100th goal, I think.
Yeah,
So
it was
I'm
his
like,
100th goal.
wow, to know that, to score your iconic goal,
Yeah.
to score a landmark goal in an iconic fashion, that is a
Yeah. That is a boss move. That is a
that's a boss
legendary
move.
move.
That's a player with some flair.
You think he probably, if he got like chances for a tap in, he would miss it purposely. Because,
Yes, I agree.
no, yeah, he's Korean. He's way too smart and
Professional
stupid for
controller.
that shit. Like he's very like he's probably very shant and Sida Sada. But yes, that was what kicked us off. Kaoru Mitoma then seemed to have equalized for Brighton, which was again a lovely take and finish on the volley. But we judged it to be handball because he did seem to control the ball with his hand, and I can see how that is the correct decision. What are your thoughts, Prash?
Now, so I was first confused. I wasn't sure. Then I saw the replays, and you can see that.
For our listeners, I'd just like to point out that from what Mukesh was saying, you can see that. What you can see is that Aakarsh Chandan has joined the recording. So welcome to Aakarsh Chandan, back from Spain, in time to talk about Everton's loss. So well done.
Oh shit! Bye. I'll be back 10 minutes later. I'll come back 10 minutes later.
No, we were just talking about the Spurs Brighton game. So Muki, what was your point.
It was amazing because I think in the replays you can see that Mitoma also holds his hand back, like he hits his hand and then he's like
Yeah.
he pushes it back and I'm like, oh dude.
He knew it.
He knew it. Like, you know, this is the way a player feels it. Like,
Yeah,
that was amazing.
but
That was,
Mitoma also looks like the like his face also has the face of somebody who knows, "Arey yaar, main to kuch to galat kiya hai."
yeah. And just he hasn't been in the Premier League enough to do around the theatrics to like not
Yeah.
cover up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's very honest.
He's still very happy to be here. Like,
Yeah.
fuck, I'm getting picked. What? like, मेरे को first team में मेरे को pick किया क्या? ये ऐसा तो नहीं होता है कभी. But yeah, he seems like a earnest child. So there's that. Then Danny Welbeck seemed to have given them the lead after Lewis Dunk equalized. But even that was adjudged for handball because Welbeck's strike hit the arm of Alexis McAllister in the box.
Yeah, that was a clear one. And then I think it didn't look very obvious during the replays, but
that was a little less clear than the Mitoma one, I thought, and it was only because of the replays that on a technicality that has to be.
In the replays also, once the replay came on, I thought, okay, it's very obviously a handball.
Yeah.
And it was one of those, oh my God, what more do Brighton have to do to get at least a point out of this game? But little did they know, Harry Kane was waiting.
Fantastic finish by Harry Kane as well.
It was what, like a 70 minutes? 73rd, I think.
Yeah. Lovely cutback by Højbjerg. And this is again, Mitoma kind of gives the ball away by trying to do his flicks. And that directly leads to the goal. So, you know, we maybe should point that out. He's trying to be a little too clever for his own good. But lovely finish by Harry Kane. He was always going to score from there. But again, like, I feel like Brighton just seemed so well placed to win this game. They were clearly the better team over 90 minutes. And late in the game, they also had a stonewall penalty shout that was taken down. Now, Aakarsh, I'll go to you for this one. How was that not given as a penalty?
I don't know, man. I mean, like, I joined this conversation halfway, but I'm guessing all the VAR pitching has been done.
No, not entirely.
We saved it for you, Aakarsh.
Oh.
We saved it for you.
Oh, thank you. The mornings waited for me. It's I don't get it. I don't get how VAR can be so bad. It just feels like deja vu. It feels like I'm back after I don't know how many weeks it's been.
Yeah.
But last time I was here, I was saying the exact same thing. I can't believe VAR is so bad and it's so shit. And here we are again.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. Last time ka recording leke cut paste karo, it'll fit.
Yeah. The PGMOL has decided that they are going to apologize to Brighton. So, Prashant, that's the 3 points that Brighton really needed.
I mean, sort of.
Yeah, like that's all they needed, right? Like an apology from the Referees Association is basically what makes everything right. हाँ, करो ना, sorry बोला ना, तो it's all.
But doesn't make any difference.
All okay.
No,
I feel like the only reason why the PGMOL doesn't do anything apart from say sorry is because then if they actually start firing people, there won't be any referees, and then there'll be carnage.
No, but even if it's not just putting apologies, like say for instance, there are actually decisions that make or break the game, right?
Yeah.
They actually have to take like immediate action. Agreed. Like, you know, with the elbow with the Liverpool game and this situation with Brighton, the best they can probably do is just suspend the fellow and not appear for the next couple of games. You understand that. But like when it comes to really tough decisions like the making or breaking of a game, or if somebody is actually likely to lose points, right? We've seen this earlier in the season as well. They should have taken like slightly stronger actions. Yeah. In this case, you know, we know you want to root for Brighton, sure, you know, but
maybe retrospective action needs to be a thing that needs to be introduced into the Premier League. I mean, I know it opens a big can of worms.
Yeah.
But from next season on, उसके पहले तो नहीं होगा, so you can't go that far back saying, अरे, but in the 1990s this happened. उतना नहीं करेंगे हम लोग. Even last season का नहीं करेंगे. But from next season onwards, if there is a blatant error made by a referee, it will be corrected and the result of the game will be reversed, or the game will have to be played again or something. Do something like that. Na?
That also
anyway, Ben, जो तुम लोग को extra games खेलने का है ना, पैसा बनाने के लिए, तो खेलो.
The best part about you saying that extra games need to happen is I'm like, what if in that game also something happened?
Never ending football. That's exactly what FIFA wants.
That's
That is
amazing.
exactly-
No, the way the apologies have been going, there have been so many apologies this season. It'll like, imagine Klopp. Klopp will be like, nahi chahiye tera apology, rematch bhi nahi chahiye, fuck it, I'll lose that one game.
Yeah.
I'm not playing additional fixtures.
Aakarsh, because you're a guy who loves his stats and who loves looking into the minute details of things, I propose that you look at the start of the season up until now, game week 30, and look at every game and look at every clear decision that has gone against a team and see how that would have impacted the result. Change the results and see what the Premier League table would have been by now if all the correct decisions were made.
I'm sure there's someone who's already done that.
I feel like you should do it.
I'll see y'all again in a month and a half.
I feel like you should do it. Use Chat GPT, dude. Like use Chat GPT. We should try it out. On that note, let's take a quick break. On the other side, we'll talk about Aakarsh's favorite team, Manchester United, beating his second favorite team, Everton. And we'll also answer your questions because this time we didn't forget to ask you guys to send in the questions. So see you on the other side. Welcome back to the Corner Flag, everybody. And as always, we begin the second half with some questions. Questions with the Corner Flag.
Dude, answers also, huh?
Awesome. So our first question is by Amogh Joshi, that is A. Joshi. He says, who's going to be the next gaffer at Leicester? And will he keep them in the Premiership?
Bunch of names have been discussed. Jesse Marsh apparently turned down an offer from Leicester to go manage there. Now they're saying that Dean Smith could be in charge on a caretaker basis. Martin O'Neill has been mentioned as well. That's a throwback for Premier League fans. The great Martin O'Neill coming back. Hasn't managed a Premier League team since 2013, but could be coming back to save Leicester. One name that
Rafa Benitez was very, very close.
Rafa
apparently.
Benitez was in the mix as well. I don't know why he's not in the mix anymore, because that would be a fantastic appointment for them.
Because he doesn't know the city. No? He doesn't know Leicester. He doesn't know the city, and then what's the point?
He probably calls it Leicester.
Leicester.
No, but if they get Benitez, I think they'll go down for sure.
Guys, if that's the qualification to be manager, 2015, 2016, me was ready for the Leicester manager job.
The other name that is conspicuous by its absence is Big Sam Allardyce. I think that is the man that they need to appoint to save them. No, but to answer Amogh Joshi's question, I don't think any of these managers that we've mentioned can help keep Leicester up unless it's Sam Allardyce, in which case he will either keep Leicester up or resign from the job just before they get relegated so he can say, I've never relegated a team. So, one of the two.
What a guy. Next question is by Noob Clicks. He says, will it be disappointing if Leicester goes down this early after having success they had in the Premier League?
Yeah, for sure. I think all of us are.
I mean, I know why Mookie was here because that's your second favorite club. So
no, but I think all of us out here have a little bit of a soft spot on Leicester. There's nobody here who's like, fuck Leicester. Nobody has that.
It's your second favorite team managed by your least favorite manager up until very recently.
Not anymore. So, they're doing a good job. But yeah, it will be a disaster because you would assume that if you would have bet that if any team could have broken the top 6 or top 5 hierarchy, it would have been Leicester. It would have been nice to hear Leicester break that or break into those, and they never really did. So it would be a big tragedy.
But Mukesh, is there a part of you that goes, this is what happens when you don't sack Brendan Rodgers in time?
Oh my God, that's good. I was just going to say that's exactly what we said last week's episode. It was just a long rant against Brendan Rodgers, and that Leicester stuck on to him, a really bad manager, for way too long. And yeah, now look where that's left them.
Next one's by PRS MUFC. He says, what has Carragher been smoking? Saying that Virgil van Dijk is better than Vidic. Scousweed must be hitting different.
Saying that Virgil van Dijk is what?
Better than Vidic.
Carragher went on this long Twitter thread of sorts where he kept replying to people and saying, "Oh, Van Dijk is better than Vidic and definitely better than Rio Ferdinand." He mentioned John Terry and
Okay, so as
all the big names.
the only player amongst these who I will say, oh, it's definitely not as good is John Terry. Okay, I will be like, yeah, for sure. I don't think. But the others are. I'm not saying. I'm not taking a definitive stance. I'm saying, see, John Terry is definitely better than Virgil van Dijk. I don't think that's a debate. The others, I think Van Dijk could compare. I mean, the career is still not yet over, so let's see where they reach by the end of it. I think you could. I'm saying the career is not over, but I think even by the time Van Dijk finishes his career, I would say John Terry was.
I'm
easily
so
the best
glad
defender.
this is a remote recording क्योंकि अभी चप्पल पड़ती मेरे को अभी if we were in the studio अभी चप्पल पड़ती है क्या बकचोदी है
I'm not saying a stance here. I'm saying by the end of the career we don't know, but I think for sure you can say even now that I would, even as a Liverpool fan, I would, and even as someone who's not very fond of Chelsea, that John Terry was. I think Van Dijk will never exit the Premier League having a bettered John Terry's stature, but I think by the end of it, who knows? By the end of his career, who knows?
the only attribute.
Amogh, listen. I know as a Liverpool fan, I know what it's like to hold on to your legacy because that's the only thing you have going for you. But it's fine. It's fine. Sometimes that legacy is challenged. It's fine.
Wow.
It's fine.
Wow.
The
This is
only
Mookie 2.0.
the only thing that John Terry is better than Virgil van Dijk is having sex with Wayne Bridges' wife. Like that is the only thing that John Terry is better. I feel like Virgil van Dijk is better than John Terry, but I do not think he is better than Nemanja Vidic or Rio Ferdinand because I feel both Vidic and Ferdinand are better than John Terry and Virgil van Dijk.
See, I think the only real lesson right now is fuck the stats, guys.
Yeah.
It's all, football is all about skills.
How about this? See, Prashant, because of John Terry and Chelsea, has skin in the game. I, because of Vidic and Ferdinand, have skin in the game. You, because of Virgil, have skin in the game. Aakarsh, as a man who has seen
He's an Everton fan.
Richard Dunn.
Guys, Antoine Alcaraz.
I knew it.
That's the name.
Aakarsh, seriously speaking, what do you think is the hierarchy of defenders between these four?
I feel like Van Dijk is now at the end of his career only. I think he's run out of steam. I think he had two very, very good seasons, two amazing seasons at Liverpool. Those first two seasons of his where he won them the Champions League and then he won them the league. But I think before that and after that, he's not done enough to warrant being spoken about as the greatest defender in the Premier League or one of the greatest. He's not been in there for long enough. He's not been consistent long enough for those two seasons. Just if you look at the best seasons that these defenders have had, Virgil van Dijk probably the best performer. But consistency-wise, overall, John Terry, Rio Ferdinand, Nemanja Vidic were like, they won multiple titles, especially both the United ones, 5 in 7, and they were an incredible defense. And I don't think we can discuss Virgil van Dijk
in the same
the same breath.
And if Liverpool had won those 3 titles back to back instead of just missing out, maybe you could still talk about him. But like, I feel like one title, one Champions League, one Premier League doesn't make an incredible defender or the greatest Premier League defender.
Well said. The next
but Antoine Alcaraz on the other hand.
Yes. The next one's by Shushti. She says from 2000 to 2022, which is the most successful Premier League team? 2000 to 2022.
Can't even.
I feel मैंने बहुत दारू पिया है वो टाइम में मेरे को याद नहीं है. No,
we
but
can't
sorry,
even agree on a defender without separating the skills.
That's precisely why I threw this question in. Because like the way you were going in, I was like, let's just throw this one in.
From 2000 to
2022. Basically, last season.
This century, basically.
But okay,
which is the most successful Premier League team?
I think Leicester.
I'd say Man United.
I would say Leicester City.
No, but just look at the number of league titles.
Most
No.
successful.
I see successful is if it's just the number of titles or whatever, then I think fair to say.
But
Fair to
what
say
what according to you is a measure of success, Mukesh? If it's not titles,
No, I get where Mukesh is
since
coming
2000,
from.
since 2000, Liverpool have consistently had the best kits.
That's true. That's successful. No, I just think
But if you look at it as which team has overperformed or has succeeded beyond expectations
That's a different
in this
question.
century.
No, that doesn't make it the most
it could be
successful.
the same question. But I think if it's a question of counting silverware, then I think there's no debate. Then there's no we just count the number.
Then we just see who's won.
Either it's United or probably City or maybe even but I guess maybe is probably going to be United. But yeah, it could be City too. If you maybe somehow some cup here, some cup there. But I think in terms of which are the most successful, in terms of Aakarsh said, which has been which teams cups would seem more as a success, right? The number of cups a team has, which Leicester is unbeatable.
But that doesn't. Leicester has 2 trophies in that time, one FA Cup and one Premier League, right? That doesn't make it the most successful team because again, the sample size is from 2000 to 2022. That's a massive sample size.
Yeah.
So even if you're saying that, this team has outperformed their average and got 2 trophies, that doesn't mean that they have been outstanding from 2000 to 2022. The only reason why she said 2000 onwards.
No, I think it is given these 20
It's because she was probably born in 2000.
Yeah.
No, but yeah.
Guys, as per the stats, counting all trophies, it's Chelsea.
See?
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Suck it up.
From 2000 to 2020, because I've just found one article which is talking about 2000 to 2020. Those 20 years, Chelsea won 17 trophies, United won 16 trophies, and City won 11.
Okay, not bad. Liverpool won how many?
Liverpool and Arsenal have won 9 each.
Yeah, that's true.
Not even double digits. So cool. Okay, 17, 16, not bad. Prashant, well done. I'll happily take second place.
I'm not even gloating at this point. I'm just like, wow, okay, that's great. And also, Statman.
Statman.
All right, so next.
Last question by Aakarsh Goswami. So Aakarsh, what was the score, Aakarsh?
Is he talking about my FPL score? Is he talking about
if you're talking about
game
FPL score, there's another question for that also. If you really want to hear, that's by Gunty.
Oh,
that's by Gunty. See, you poked this, so I have to say this now.
I know where this is going.
He says, congratulations, Amogh, on beating Aakarsh in FPL. Ask him about his wild card. And he says, ask him if he's back. And clearly he is back, so ask him.
So I am back, and I decided now that I'm back and I have to concentrate on the FPL, and Amogh's taken the lead, and while I was away, I wasn't really looking at the app so much. I decided that I'll come back and I'll pay attention to the app now. So I planned my team looking forward to the next 4 or 5 weeks. Made about 7-8 changes, and this I was doing just before going to bed because I was like, I'll probably not sleep, I'll miss the deadline before going to bed, let me just finish it. So it was the last thing I was doing before going to bed, and I made about 8 changes, and I used the wild card, but I didn't use the wild card, and that's all I have to say about that. And then as soon as I clicked it, I realized that I fucked up. So I didn't bother changing my first 11. I didn't bother changing my captain, none of that. And then someone told me that, you should just gone and made one more transfer and then activated your wild card and it would have all apparently counted, is what someone else told me. But anyways, I don't care. I have retired for the season. I will do the guard of honor for you, Amogh, because no one else clearly between us seems to be
Amazing.
I gave up way early on. Don't worry. I gave up way early.
Mukesh gave up before it even started.
It's not giving up if you didn't participate.
Mukesh, like FPL equals financial fair play league.
Right. Let's then pile more misery onto Aakarsh because on his return to the cornflag after a hiatus of multiple weeks, he comes in to Everton losing 2-0 to Man United.
You'll remember there was that about a couple of years ago, there was that video that went viral of that guy sky paragliding. Yes. And there was a quote of his that I would like to repeat. It went, मैं चूतिया हूँ जो इसमें आया आज. Stayed in fucking Spain.
Scott McTominay scoring the goal. And Anthony Martial as well. You told me on WhatsApp while we were watching the game, you were watching the game and I was watching the game in separate houses, but we were still talking to each other while the game was on. And as soon as Martial came on, you said that Martial is going to score. And I said, I'm not going to watch the second half because I feel like United plays better and United wins when I don't watch games. Right. And both of those things happened.
Yeah, but Martial scoring against Everton, there are those certain players that are going to score against your team, like Martial against Everton, Rooney when he was at United against Everton, Suarez at Liverpool, Sturridge at Liverpool, Salah at Liverpool, Mane at Liverpool.
But here's the thing, like all those names guys that you've mentioned are great, prolific goal scorers and Anthony Martial. So, if predict a Martial goal...
No, if Martial could play 38 games against Everton in a season, he'd shatter Haaland's record. Like Martial against Everton, it's just that Martial will score against Everton, water is wet, that death and taxes, man. Fucking death and taxes.
Absolutely. So okay, cool. Let's not dwell too much on this result because there's a big story that we have to talk about before we wrap up this episode. It is related to Everton because ex-Everton boss Frank Lampard is back in charge of Chelsea. Prashant, we spoke about this in brief detail at the start of the episode, but now let's dive straight into it. It's an interesting choice by Todd Boehly, to say the least. Doesn't help that his first match back in charge was a 1-0 loss to Wolves. But
I honestly, I don't think he bothered to really change much.
I mean, he probably still had his Chelsea tracksuit and all.
For sure. He's like, this is for Terry.
But
like on a weekly basis, he used to go to his phone and look at Stamford Bridge Wi-Fi and be like, forget this network. No, not yet. Let's just
call aega.
I feel like he used to sometimes still turn up at the venue and be like, oh shit, no, and then be like, oh, this is not the
Park. Wrong city.
Yeah. But like, what are your thoughts on this appointment, right, Prashant? And I really want to know from a Chelsea fan's point of view because I can imagine Chelsea fans being like, "What the fuck?" Like there must be a little bit of confusion because as Chelsea fans, you all obviously love and idolize Frank Lampard as the player, but as a manager, he wasn't great. And then to see him back, especially when the club is going through a tough phase right now, is he really the right appointment? Even though he's a caretaker only.
So, from a PR stance, I think it is good because clearly Chelsea hasn't had like victories for the last couple of games while Potter was there, right?
Yeah.
From that perspective, it is obviously like somebody who knows what Frank Lampard has done in the club. Obviously, he is like a big legend, and everyone will know that maybe he would have his managerial career wasn't that big, but they know to some extent that what he's done in the transfer ban era, right? That he went back to the academy, he got all the players, he still got the club back onto its feet. They know that piece of history.
Yeah.
Even if they don't know that piece of history, let's just say that, right? It's just a story worth saying that another ex-player has come back to the club who's a legend of the club. It just seems like a good story regardless, right? Whether he's a good manager or not, that is something that the four of us and like proper football enthusiasts or probably like some statistic guys will be able to tell, right? Be like, he doesn't have the know-how of actually having to run the club. Like, in my opinion, now we'll remove the Chelsea fan out of this perspective. I'll be like, I don't think he's the right manager, clearly.
But even in a caretaker capacity?
Even caretaker capacity, he's fine. It's just from like a PR stance, no then. Like, I have zero feelings for him coming back to the club.
No, but the way I see it is, maybe Todd Boehly is doing an interesting and probably the most sane thing that he could have done, which
I
is
don't
put in the
think he
caretaker
knows.
manager till he can get Nagelsmann for
I
next
don't
season.
think.
Okay.
No, I don't think Boehly has any clue what he's doing. He's just
Yeah.
flipping the coin and
Fair.
taking decisions.
I
Right?
feel like, yeah. And see, my thing is that I do agree, getting a caretaker manager seems like a sensible thing, but it's also a way of saying, Acha,
Absolutely.
I've given up on this season, so it's
Yeah.
over. Like
Correct.
this season, whatever happens, fuck it. Now it's over.
Yeah.
Because I think Chelsea is also the most expensive squad to have been ever assembled in the history of football, almost, right?
Yeah.
Everybody is insanely expensive. And also, I think the main target of getting Lampard was there's a game against Real Madrid next season. Now
Yeah.
the Premier League is gone. There is only a shot at Champions League, which is even if it's like 1% chance, it's still that's the only chance they have. I think pretty much European football or Premier League is gone. And I think the thing was, okay, who is the only person available who can bring some sense into this Champions League football? And it's such a weird thing that the Wolves manager was Lopetegui, who managed Real Madrid.
Yeah.
But the Real Madrid manager is Ancelotti, who used to manage Chelsea.
Yeah.
So I don't know what weird merry-go-round this is. I don't know what the plans and tactics are. But this is a clearly clueless give up,
It is.
whatever works sort of a. It's a shrug. It's really just the personification of a shrug where I give up. I don't know what to do anymore.
I get that, and I get that he's given up on the season, but I feel like if you have given up on the season and you want someone just to like end the season, give Graham Potter time. He still has more tactical acumen than Lampard. He's still the know-how, the technical know-how that you're talking about is something that Lampard definitely doesn't have, and Potter definitely does. So I feel like it was a silly decision. However, since you touched on the Champions League, I feel like they're going to win the Champions League under this guy. Chelsea are the weird club that do weird shit like this. Who is Roberto Di Matteo right now?
Yeah.
No one, right? He's absolutely nobody, but he came in, I think they sacked Jose, if I'm not mistaken, and got Roberto Di Matteo as interim manager, and everyone is like, dude, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And then they won the Champions League, and no one knows who Roberto Di Matteo is anymore.
Yeah.
Same with Tuchel, no?
Yeah,
Like
same
Tuchel
with
came in and came and dropped
Came
off
in, won
and
the
came
league in
with
that.
leagues.
But to be fair, Tuchel's still like in management. Like he's gone to
He
Bayern
did.
Munich now. Roberto Matteo,
Yeah.
matlab kya kar rahe hain?
Yeah.
This is going to be Roberto Di Matteo Mark II. I feel like उन लोगों को feels के Ted Lasso के believe पे they will believe and they will beat Real Madrid and then they'll be like, oh, belief is working, chalo.
Maybe.
Do you think that will get Frank Lampard a 8-year contract under Todd Boehly?
No, no chance.
No, but
could
at like
do it.
Vitesse Arnhem or something, they'll be like, Lampard, tu loan pe ja. We'll send you on loan as a manager.
Okay, guys, just to round off this debate of people who are wondering, where the hell is this Roberto Di Matteo, whatever? He was at Aston Villa between June 2016 to October 2016. He lasted for 5 months and then he got fired. Then he went
They
to
win the Champions League as well.
Yeah, he won a Champions League. And then he went to Hyundai Motors Jeonbuk in South Korea.
Wow.
And he was appointed as the technical advisor in January. So there were 6 years in between. Nobody really knows what he was up
Currently,
to.
Frank is sitting somewhere and making notes. Hyundai League, Aston Villa.
He had considered. Can you imagine? Okay, if you take a list of clubs between Aston Villa and Hyundai Motors Jeonbuk, if every club, he went through every club and rejected him, and at one number 178 is when they said you can come on board, and it's a 6-year journey.
I think that reaction was also the personification of a shrug.
Shrug.
He was just like, Di Matteo was like, मैं आके manage करूँ क्या? And the is like, yeah, okay.
He's like, you won the Champions League? He's like, this guy won the Champions League, and they have to check the footage to see if it's some deep fake or something.
It is crazy. But for next season, then are you thinking Nagelsmann?
I don't know, man. Like, fuck it. Like, really, at this point, I don't know. Because again, I still feel like Todd Boehly is going to flip the coin. And I mean, just want to go back. Like when Aakarsh was saying that, why didn't you give Potter also the chance? Potter wasn't going to get the chance as it is because Boehly is coming into the club where he's like he may have a couple of advisors who are going to like give him what the club is doing, what they should do. But more importantly, it's going to be the fans. You can't tell them off, right? Like the club's got a history because of that.
Yeah.
And I think it was Jamie Carragher or it was De Zerbi who was saying that it's very normal that that in the Italian league you have a lot of managers who keep shifting, shuffling between the seasons, and that's starting to become a norm over here. But he's also started to say that a large part of the problem that a lot of people won't see it on, and that's in fact the culture that's also there with the Chelsea fans, is that they've been raised in a specific environment, right? That they've been winning, they've been seeing a lot of performances. Suddenly, when they don't see it for a long period of time, they're going to start feeling disappointed. And that's probably what's happened as well. But also because of that is this freak accident of having to get rid of the manager. But also, then how do you sort of support? How do you actually, you don't have any grounds to get Potter back, even though I'm very pro Potter because I love what he's done with Brighton. In fact, all of us will agree to this, right? But we knew this from day one that he joined in. He's like, either he's amazing at this or he's going to suck terribly.
Yeah.
But regardless, it is a journey to see through. Yeah. So in this case, Potter probably had zero chance.
But I think we're being harsh towards Todd Boehly. I think we should give him credit where it's due. I don't think he's just going to flip a coin or he's going to listen to, we crack jokes about how everyone's listening into our Corner Flag podcast he's a shrewd businessman. He knows what he's doing. He's taking advice from the experts like James Corden.
That's right.
He knows what he's doing.
Right.
Let's not. I mean, apparently Frank Lampard has James Corden to thank. So who are we to judge? He's clearly reaching out to the best experts there are.
They say that Ted Lasso is going to be over after this third season. That's how long the story is written for. It's a 3-season show. I think this is a spin-off that needs to happen. Yeah. Just a buddy cop movie with Todd Boehly and James Corden. That is
James
something
Corden
fantastic.
as a director of football.
Yeah, that would be absolutely fucking fantastic. Right, with that,
Isn't James Corden a West Ham fan? He's not even a Chelsea fan. This is some really sinister...
Which is probably why he said you should hire Frank Lampard. He's a West Ham legend. No, but Lampard also West Ham legend.
Maybe after the meeting, Todd Boehly went to his assistants. He was like, this guy's a great football expert. He's given me some great advice and I've already acted on him and I've announced it. And they were like, Todd, he's a comedian. He cracks jokes for a living. It's like, no, but he said we should get Frank Lampard. It's like,
he's a comedian. Todd Boehly was just like, he's got an English accent. He must know what he's talking about.
Yeah. He called it football, not soccer. That's a great start.
Exactly. That's a great start. Right. On that note, it is time to end this episode. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to The Corner Flag. If you'd like to get in touch with us and tell us what you thought of this episode, you can reach us on our social media. You can find Prashant on Instagram at
Prash224.
You can find Mukesh on Instagram at
Mukesh Manjunath.
You can find Aakarsh on Instagram at
Aakarsh Chandan.
And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Amogh.
That's because his name is Pratap.
It is Pratap, or as I like to call it, Pratap.
You elbowed him.
I elbowed him. Yeah, because he was Liverpool player. No, I don't like Liverpool players. You can also follow The Corner Flag on Instagram and Twitter at @CornerFlagPod. Do visit our website, thecornerflag.in. Support us by buying us a coffee on buymeacoffee.com/thecornerflag. If you can't do that, subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. And do not forget to give us a 5-star review. Shout out to Kezad Gurda for composing our theme tune. And until next week, it is goodbye from all four of us. So say bye, Prashant.
Bye.
Say bye, Mukesh.
Bye.
Say bye, Aakarsh.
Bye.
And it's bye from me.